Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor Modern Indian History series. We are in the first chapter, the advent of Europeans. We have seen in the previous class that what are the various reasons behind the European quest to travel towards India. The urge to find, to discover new routes towards India, bypassing in the Middle Ottoman Empire. If we see the map of 1400s or in the year 1500, the Europe looked like this. In this class, we are going to understand the first European power which came to India and who established their authority in India. The power is the Portuguese. So this class, we are going to deal completely with Portuguese because they played a very significant role. They are very powerful before the rise of other Europeans in Indian subcontinent. Identify this one. This is the map. Whatever we are seeing today, the European continent is different what it was in 1500. So many kingdoms. Like in case of India also, at the time of British conquest, India divided into multiple kingdoms and they took advantage and they conquered it. At this point of time, you can see Europe, so many kingdoms. Like you see today there is Germany, but that time there was no Germany. The German kingdoms were divided into multiple principalities. France is like this, Spain is like this, Portugal is like this, England is like this. You can see this. Kingdom of Scotland, Kingdom of England, Ireland, multiple small kingdoms you will identify. But the very powerful empire which is threatening them is this one. Identify this one, Ottoman Empire. So that is why they are very much afraid of this one. If you want to travel towards India, you have to come towards like this. And you have to pay taxes to this empire. And as we have discussed in the previous class, ideologically also they are different. That is why they wanted a route which give other alternative. In that process, the coastal countries or the coastal kingdoms took the initiative. Naturally, because the landlocked countries cannot take this kind of benefit. The coastal kingdoms, they took the initiative in this. Portugal, Spanish, particularly, they took a lot of interest in this and they started going and they started exploring. Columbus, who discovered sea route towards America, he represented Spain. Columbus, Vasco da Gama, who discovered sea route to India, belongs to Portuguese. All right. So this is the context. Now our focus shift towards India. Let us see what is happening in India. So this is, we have seen what was happening in Europe. Now what is happening in India? When it comes to India in 1490s, because Vasco da Gama came to India in 1498. Let me draw this. This is Indian subcontinent. Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. What is today's countries? We are talking about 1490s. Who were there? In Delhi, Lodi dynasty was ruling. But Lodi dynasty was not ruling entire India. After Tughlaq dynasty, Delhi Sultans, different dynasties ruled Delhi Sultan. Dynasty name is dynasty name is Lodi, but the kingdom name is Delhi Sultanate. Like in ancient times, kingdom name is Magadha, but ruled by various dynasties, Haryanka, Shishunaga, Nanda, Mauryan dynasties. Likewise, Delhi Sultanate is the kingdom, but ruled by various dynasties, Mamluk dynasty or slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, Lodi dynasty. Fifth one and last one is Delhi Sultanate, Lodi dynasty. So they were ruling from 1450s to they are going to rule till 1526. In 1526, Delhi Sultanate is replaced by Mughal Empire by Babur. Now we are in 1490s. In 1490s, Babur was here. Identify this. UPSC used to ask the questions in this manner only. Straightforward questions are not there. If three statements are there, one statement related to Mughals, one statement related to Delhi Sultans, one statement related to Portuguese. That is why this is very important. When something is happening in one place, you should have an idea what is happening in other part of the country. Then only you can interrelate many things. And the politics is nothing but the combination of all these developments only. This is Delhi Sultanate. After Tughlaq dynasty, Delhi Sultanate disintegrated. The Delhi Sultanate itself became restricted to Delhi. On the ruins of Delhi Sultanate, different kingdoms emerged. For example, this is one kingdom, that is Gujarat Sultanate. Gujarat Sultanate. And when it comes to this side, Bahmani kingdom first established, and by this time period, Bahmani kingdom or Bahmani Sultanate also disintegrated into different small kingdoms, like in this case, Bijapur Sultanate. Identify this one. It is not a single political system. Bijapur Sultanate. If there was any powerful kingdom or powerful empire at this point of time, means which was conquering different parts, which is about to become very powerful empire by the time Babur comes to Delhi, that empire is Vijayanagara Empire. Vijayanagara Empire. Remember all of them. Unless you have this map in front of you, you cannot connect various dots. You cannot, don't mug up anything. It is not at all required. Just you see the map. We are in 1490s. Babur established Mughal dynasty or Mughal empire in 1526. But we are in 1490s. That's why Babur not yet reached. And here Lodi dynasty was there. When Lodi dynasty is there, Gujarat is a separate kingdom, Jaunpur is a separate kingdom, Bengal Sultanate and Bahmani in Deccan, different kingdoms are there, Vijayanagara Empire. And when it comes to this, they used to continuously fight. So here Bahmani kingdom was there. Bahmani kingdom is about to disintegrate into 5 different kingdoms. One powerful kingdom is Bijapur Sultanate. Here this is Vijayanagara Empire. So this is the context. Like in case of Europe, multiple kingdoms are there. In India also, this is the situation. And if we extend here, if we extend Africa, Saudi Arabia, Persia, and this is Ottoman Empire, Persian Empire, and this is where Europeans started moving towards India. When it comes to Vasco da Gama, he traveled all the way like this. Vasco da Gama reached a place called Calicut. And near the coastal area, small kingdoms were there. This was under a ruler called Zamorin. Zamorin is the name that Portuguese called, but in the Indian version, that is Samudri. Samudri ruler. That means the kingdom which is based on the ocean side. So simply coastal kingdom you consider. So this is what happened in 1498. Now, when it comes to Indian subcontinent, foreigners' arrival is not something very new. Always, this land attracted foreigners throughout the history. You already know that if you have idea about ancient history, that throughout the past, lot of migrations used to take place. For example, here there is a pass called Khyber Pass. This is the route through which Central Asian people, West Asian people, Africans, Europeans, everyone enter into this land. Even Alexander also, Alexander, European, and reached this, and he conquered small tribal kingdoms here, and he went this side. Arrival of foreigners is not something very new here. That is why Alexander means belongs to Greek. Central Asian like Kushanas, Shakas. The way we are seeing today, it is different. The way it was there at that point of time was different. That means simply it is a land, different sorts of people used to come and settle. And this land already knew how to live peacefully with various religions, with various races, cultures. And that is the specialty of this land. That is unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. Turkish people, Persians, Central Asians, all sorts of people. Now that's why arrival of Vasco da Gama is not a something very new phenomena. Many people from Europe used to travel. Earlier also there was one famous traveler called Marco Polo. He also visited in 1300s. Likewise, many people used to come and visit. That is why Indian rulers used to invite them and Indian rulers used to honor them. It is not that they are not seen as enemies. You are seen as a guest. And Vasco da Gama came and he took whatever exotic products that are available in India, like spices, textiles, and he took it back and he sold it in European market. He got a lot of profits. And naturally, it is going to create a lot of interest, enthusiasm among Europeans also, that now a route is discovered by Vasco da Gama, they can follow the same footsteps. Here, he is representing Portugal. That's why now Portuguese took the interest. After Vasco da Gama, different Portuguese people are going to come and they are going to explore this region. Portuguese government also appointed governors to take care of these settlements. That is how a unique kind of relationship is emerging now. Suppose if there is a ruler in Gujarat, this kingdom name is Gujarat Sultanate. Where will the king sit? King is going to sit in the capital of the Sultanate. Suppose if Lodi dynasty is ruling here, the emperor used to sit in Delhi. If Vijayanagara emperors were there, they used to sit in Hampi, the capital, and they are going to rule. A unique kind of relationship is emerging now. Here the king is not sitting in India. King is sitting here, but their administrators are taking care of this area. That is what this kind of relationship is called colonization. But naturally, you see, it is very difficult to communicate in those times. That is why, even though officially he is the king, but whoever appointed here in the as viceroy in Indian subcontinent, they are going to almost rule as independently only. Because today you have communication network, but those times it is very difficult to reach the information also. That's why, even though they are appointed by the king, but here they are the kings. They are called viceroys. That means representatives of the king. Now you see the terminologies much before East India Company is going to establish in India. Already Portuguese people tried. That's why we are separately dealing with Portuguese people. Portuguese arrived before Babar. This itself is a prelims question. Mughal Empire established first or Vasco da Gama reached first in India means Vasco da Gama only came India first. Babar is yet to arrive with the scene here. That is why before the establishment of Mughal dynasty, here Portuguese settlements are already starting here. That is why it is very unique. Now, this happened in 1498 Calicut. Now let me draw another map. This will give you a different picture. Now you see, so far if you see throughout the past, the oceans, Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, they acted as natural barriers to Indian subcontinent, or they protected India from any kind of invasions. Now that security is now getting compromised with the latest technologies. That is what the reason, that is what we have to learn today means, if our coastal area is not strong, tomorrow some other big power can come and they play dominant role in our neighborhood. That is why our investments in Navy are very strong. So far land invasions have seen, but now sea invasion is about to come now. That is why modern Indian history has given example that if we are not protected, if we are not safe from the oceans, we are not safe anymore. Now, as of 21st century, a new kind of threat is coming, that is a space threat. Like a land invasion, water invasion, now space. Space means missiles, satellites. This is the latest threat that India is posing. That's why we are investing in space technologies also. For now, India is one of the leading countries in terms of space technology. This is how, as the technology changes, threats, nature of the threats also change. At that particular point of time, our Indian rulers were not strong in navy. That's why a new kind of situation is emerging now. For 21st century, if we are not strong in space technology, a new kind of scenario is going to emerge. That's why we don't want to compromise in our security. We are investing, and in fact, we are becoming the leaders also. This is Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Vasco da Gama came, and he has shown the potential of trade route towards Asia, India. Now gradually Portuguese people started establishing their settlements in different places. This is Calicut, this is Cochin, different places. Portuguese administrators also came and they started taking care of these settlements. In 1510, they captured Goa also. From whom? Goa was captured from Bijapur Sultanate. Another prelims question. That's why I asked you to remember what was happening in 1490s. Directly, if I start explaining this one without this map, then you will not understand. That's why first I introduce you this one, what is happening in India, Lodi dynasty. Gujarat Sultanate, Bijapur Sultanate, Vijayanagara Empire. Goa was captured from Bijapur. Diu, Daman, they were taken from Gujarat Sultanate. Getting clear? Gujarat Sultanate, Diu, Daman. Goa was captured from Bijapur Sultanate. And Calicut and Cochin, these are the settlements in Zamorin kingdom. When the Portuguese activities are increasing, because they are coming up with ships, advanced ships. Whenever wars and battles take place, they are winning over the Indian rulers. Here a new angle is coming. These people wanted to capture the trade routes in this region. But traditionally, who are the powerful traders in this region means these people. Who are the powerful traders means Arabs. Arabs were trading with Indian subcontinent for so many centuries. Traditionally, now naturally when Portuguese are coming, it is going to create conflict between these people and Arabs. But now Portuguese people are coming up with advanced technologies. With guns they are coming. Now with this, they defeated even Arabs also. And in fact, they used to pressurize the Indian kings also that you give us their trade concessions. You should not encourage Arabs. You should give encouragement to us. But Indian rulers used to say that Arabs were there for very long time. And also Arabs and Gujarat Sultanate, Bijapur Sultanate culturally also connected because Mecca and Medina are located here. It is the birthplace of Islam. That is why the rulers were followers of Islam. Naturally, Arabs are going to have more strong relationship. Now, in this context, Portuguese are going to nurture good relationship with enemies of Bijapur Sultanate. Those were Vijayanagara rulers. Vijayanagara rulers. And in fact, we know more details about Vijayanagara Empire from Portuguese travelers. And they used to praise Vijayanagara Empire. And in fact, Vijayanagara Empire was a very powerful empire at this point of time. And they see Portuguese and Vijayanagara Empire are going to have good relations. Why Vijayanagara rulers wanted European? Why Portuguese means they are coming up with a new technology, number one. Second one, Vijayanagara emperors also needed good quality horses. But good quality horses come from Central Asia. That is why this is one of the reasons for the Central Asian tribes continuously winning wars and battles over other people. For example, Turkish people. Turkish people come from Central Asia. They are very good in horse riding. That is why they were having the edge over their enemies. Now, if these horses they need, they have to come from Arab merchants to India. But already Delhi Sultanate is there, Gujarat Sultanate is there, Bijapur Sultanate is there. That is why Vijayanagara empires were not able to get continuous access to these horses, like in the present day context, like oil and petrol. That is why Vijayanagara rulers nurtured good relations with the Portuguese, and Portuguese were supplying horses and whatever technology they require, whatever goods. So Portuguese were getting access to Vijayanagara Empire. Vijayanagara Empire is getting access to Portuguese trading items. So in this way, Portuguese and Vijayanagara emperors were having good relations. Now could you see how when it comes to Vijayanagara Empire, many travelers used to come and praise Vijayanagara rulers. It was in this context only Sri Krishna Devaraya, who was the most powerful ruler in Vijayanagara kingdom, was also ruling at this particular point of time. Sri Krishna Devaraya. His time period is 1509 to 1529 during this time period. So this was the time period. Now, this is exactly during this time period Babur was establishing Krishnadevaraya. Identify this. Exactly during 1509 to 29, during this time period only, in 1529, till 1529 he was there, and in 1526, Babur established Mughal Empire. After first battle of Panipat. Now identify this multiple, so many questions are connected now. This is first battle of Panipat. Babur established Mughal Empire in 1526. This was the time the most powerful emperor Sri Krishnadevaraya was living here during this time period only. And during this time period, Portuguese were continuously expanding their presence in the west coast. In 1510, they captured Goa from Bijapur. In 1530, they made Goa as their capital, that continued till 1961. One more prelims question is, who were the first Europeans to come to India? Portuguese. Who were the last Europeans to leave India? Portuguese. Could you see how Portuguese are so important in our Indian history? Means this only. They were the first to come, not English, not Dutch, not French. Portuguese were the first to come, and last to leave is Portuguese only. After India got independence from British. Still, some people were, some places were still under as colonies under Portuguese. In 1961, Goa was captured by independent India. So till that time, Portuguese were there in the political scene. Could you see this? What is happening continuously here? If you have clarity up to now, then it becomes easy to understand what was happening in case of India. Now we have to know about who are the some important administrators of Portuguese here and what were their policies. This is west coast. Similarly, in the east coast also they established their settlements. Like in Chennai, Mylapore, they established. Nagapattinam, they established. In Hooghly region also they established. So that is how in the coastal area they established continuously all these settlements. They were started administering. All right. Now, with respect to some administrators, what were their contributions and what was their policy? First person, Vasco da Gama, you all know. Vasco da Gama came in 1498. When he was there, Zamorin was the ruler. He set foot in Calicut. That was the important, those were the important points with respect to Vasco da Gama. The first viceroy who was given in charge to take care of Indian factories or Indian settlements was Francisco de Almeida. You see this now, we are understanding Portuguese names. Francisco de Almeida. Francisco de Almeida, 1505 to 1509. Administrators of the Portuguese. So before understanding English administration, we are trying to understand Portuguese administration. He was the first viceroy. First viceroy. Same name will come in case of English administration also later. After 1858, I am drawing here. In 1857, Great Revolt took place. In 1858, a law was passed. East India Company administration was completely removed. Viceroy system emerged. That means crown rule started in 1858 onwards. That is British. And here we are talking about in which time period? 1500. That means almost 300, 350 years earlier we are talking the story. First Viceroy. He introduced a policy called Blue Water Policy. Remember this. Blue Water Policy, also known as Carthage system. Blue Water Policy or Carthage system. What is this? It is a license. What is this license? Now you see why we don't want to encourage, or why we are very much alert if American ships are unnecessarily maintaining any kind of naval bases here. If Chinese naval base in our neighborhood, why we are getting alert? Identify this one. This is the map. According to this policy, suppose if you have a kingdom, land-based kingdom. Now you are the king. Can anyone enter without your permission? No, because that is the land. Land belong to this king, and everyone have to take the permission from the king. Now, when it comes to Mughals, Vijayanagara rulers, Bijapur and Ahmednagar, they were all managing their land. Now, when it comes to Indian rulers, they were not able to control the oceans, open oceans. Portuguese have taken this as an advantage. Now they started telling that, now this is our land. Not land, this is our territory. That means if we want to enter into your territory, you are expecting taxes to pay. Similarly, if you want to pass through this area, now you have to pay taxes to me. Could you see how dangerous scenario is emerging now? Generally, these are the seas that anybody can go travel freely. That is why in the present day context, after United Nations was established, open navigation. The seas were open to all. The seas do not belong to any particular country. They are not the property of any particular country. Land is the property of that particular country, but not the ocean. Why this kind of rule emerged after Second World War means because continuously kingdoms were fighting over this territory. That means open oceans are not open for all. Now, Portuguese are telling that this water belongs to me. This is my empire. If you want to travel, you have to pay tax. That is what Carthage. So, Carthage means it is a license. You have to take a license from me. You have to pay some fee. We will give you license. Then you can freely travel. That means if you are a trader, you need to take this license. Then only you are freely able to go. Otherwise, I will capture your trading ship and I will take all your goods. It is like with force only. It's same thing. Like suppose if someone enter into this land, if they are not able to, they are not paying the tax to the king, king will confiscate the entire the caravan. Similarly, now Portuguese are making ocean only their empire. That policy is known as blue water policy. Could you see? Now they are making water also empire. Blue water policy or Carta system. Now naturally it is going to create a conflict with the Arabs. Arabs, Persians, Ottomans, they were all. Now you see, they don't want to travel all the way like this because they want to bypass this empire. Now after coming in this route, now they created their empire here. Traditionally, Arabs were traveling, Persians were traveling, Ottoman Turks were traveling. Now they are going to have conflict with them. But Portuguese people were more advanced. In fact, there was a war also. The war also like Arabs, Gujarat Sultanate, that means Indian rulers and these traders, they started fighting also. But Portuguese people were becoming successful. That is the advantage of latest technology. So what is the lesson which we have to learn from here? in 21st century, if we are not strong in technology, tomorrow a new power will come and create trouble for us. That is why we should always be alert. We should keep on improving our technologies. All right. This is what the latest technology made them successful. That is why successfully they were able to capture these settlements. They created many settlements both along the west coast and east coast. Next, the next person is Francisco Almeida, first one. The next important personality, Alfonso de Albuquerque. Alfonso de Albuquerque. This is Portuguese name, 1509 to 1515. During his time period, Goa was captured. In which year? In 1510. From whom? Bijapur Sultanate. Bijapur Sultanate. Already we have seen Bijapur, how they are there. Bijapur, next. Second one. Now, during his time period, Portuguese settlements increased. Portuguese settlements. That means people are coming from Portuguese and started settling in India. Increased. In order to mix with the local population, encouraged marriages with the local people. In his area, he even abolished the sati practice also. Sati practice is seen as a very cruel practice. During his time period, it was abolished in his kingdom. One more reason is, if sati practice is abolished, widows will be there and they can marry to the Portuguese people also. That is another angle. So overall, he encouraged intermixing with the local population. Now you see, that is what happens throughout the past. Initially, they come like army. They establish, like in case of Turkish people, Delhi Sultanate was established initially with army, and after some time, they marry with the local people. They settle here. So this is what initially Portuguese people came and settled, and they became part of Indian tradition now. Gradually, they are becoming. When it comes to British, that scenario is going to change. By British time period, the communication system increased. They always treated India as their colony. But initially, the communication system is not that strong. That is why, even though Portuguese people were appointed here, but gradually they are becoming Indianizing. That is why today also, if you go to Goa, Goa is intermixing of European and Indian culture only. The people who are in Goa, they will not consider Portuguese as their mother country. They consider India only as their mother country. So that is what intermixing is going to take place. Goa is the gateway to European culture in India. They are going to become part and parcel of Indian tradition gradually. So that it will take some time. That is what happening now. Portuguese settlements are increasing, intermarrying with local population, and gradually a new kind of culture is about to emerge. And they are going to introduce different type of crops also. Portuguese culture, Christianity. It is not the Christianity came not with Portuguese. Already Christianity was there in India. Saint Thomas, during post-Mauryan time period itself, Christianity came to India near Kerala region only. So during this time period, different experiments like intermixing with the people, introduction of various crops also, like cashew, nut, tobacco, potato. So these kind of varieties of crops are also now emerging. Another important person in the process was Ninoda Kunha. Ninoda Kunha. During this time period, 1529 to 1538, during this time period. During this time period, when it comes to Gujarat Sultanate, Gujarat Sultan Bahadur Shah was killed during his time period. Why? Now, what is the scenario here? Bahadur Shah means, identify this one. When Babur established his empire here, after Babur, Humayun was expanding his empire. When Humayun was expanding his empire, he was trying to invade Gujarat Sultanate also. Now, Gujarat Sultan felt that if he approached the Portuguese people, he can get advanced weapons. But in the negotiation, that negotiation failed, and in fact, Gujarat Sultan was only killed by the Portuguese. Do you see how they are involving in the politics and they are getting gradually the territories like this? Diu Daman were taken from the Gujarat Sultan. Later, he was also killed because when negotiations failed. Why Bahadur Shah was approaching Portuguese means he is facing a new threat in the form of Humayun. So that's why you see how the dynamics are happening here. That was happening during this time period. Who is the Viceroy? Ninoda Kunha. So this manner, in this way, and during this time period, in 1530, Goa became capital. Goa was captured in 1510 from Gujarat, from Bijapur, but in 1530, it became capital. Earlier, Cochin was the capital. All right. Now, in this manner, one after the other, they were continuously establishing their empire. Now, after some time, their empire became like this. Various settlements like Goa, Calicut, Cochin, Nagapattanam, Mylapore, Chennai, Hooghly, Bombay. Bombay initially was Portuguese colony only. Later it was given to English. Diu, Daman. From Goa, they were ruling these. But how they are ruling? Through ocean route. Now, when Mughal emperors were becoming very powerful, they tried to maintain good relations for some time. But when their pirate activities were increasing, it even created conflict also with them. Even during Akbar period also, there was crisis that what is the system they already created? Karta system. In one of the cases when royal family members, Akbar family members were traveling towards Mecca, but that ship was captured by the Portuguese. Akbar got so much angry, he was so furious, and he threatened the Portuguese to wipe out from the Indian subcontinent. Later, they released. When Shah Jahan time period, during Shah Jahan time period, one more time crisis emerged that in Hooghly region, they were trying to capture the slaves of Mughal slaves. It led to conflict between Mughal army and Portuguese. In this conflict, Mughal army completely crushed Portuguese and Portuguese had to leave Hooghly region. So that's why sometime good relation, sometime conflicts taken place with Mughal emperors with respect to Portuguese relationship. Now, what is the impact? Impact here is, first of all, This became a property of a ocean. Ocean became property of one kingdom. Now it is no more freely navigable area. Another one, they introduced different crops like cashew nut, potato, chili, which are going to be very, very common in Indian subcontinent. They introduced. And they introduced these varieties by taking from South America, Latin America, because there also they have their colonies. They brought certain crops and they introduced here. Next one, they spread Christianity also. In their colonies, the churches were very, very famous. In those areas, the Christianity spread. And they converted many local populations also to Christianity. They were very much aggressive in spreading the Christianity. As a result, they tried to convert locals also into Christianity. They sent even missionaries to China also. They were trying to spread Christianity towards China or Southeast Asia. In that area also they tried to do. So in this way, churches were constructed, Christianity ideas spreaded, but they are not the one who introduced. Saint Thomas long ago introduced, but during this time period that expansion increased, crops introduced, sati abolished, and some of these areas converted into Portuguese colonies and Portuguese European culture introduced there. Gradually, when their activities were going on throughout the 1500s, they are very, very strong. But when new powers like English, Dutch, when they entered into the scene in 1600s, gradually their power declined. The conflict with Mughal emperors, conflict with the fellow Europeans led to gradually decline of Portuguese people. This is how, when it comes to the story of Portuguese settlements, how they started their journey, how they established various settlements, who are the important viceroys, what is the impact of Portuguese administration in India, and also what is happening in the northern side also when this was happening in the southern side. The coastal areas are now like this. So this is what with respect to Portuguese. Now I will give you the questions. Please try to answer. First one. First one. Goa was captured from which sultanate? Second question. True or false? Babur established Mughal Empire before Portuguese. True or false? Answer this. Third one. Portuguese encouraged sati practice. Encouraged sati practice. True or false? Another question. So try to say. Then only you can recollect the points. All right. Next. Goa came from, captured from. Next one. Who introduced blue water policy or Carta system? Who introduced Carta system, blue water policy? All right. Next. In India, crops like potato, cashew nut, tobacco. In India, crops like potato, cashew nut, tobacco were introduced by which European? 5 questions and so on. You can generate multiple questions. I am giving you just idea how to generate so many questions. This is the way you have to remember and recollect and revise the content with respect to history. Just recollect the story, always visualize the map, connect various dots, then it becomes easy like a story in front of you, as if movie is running in front of you. All right. If you do history in this manner, For very long time you are going to remember, and also you are going to connect that story with respect to current affairs also, international relations also. Now you see many things, whatever we are studying here, there is same thing what you are going to study with respect to international relations also. Suppose if China develop a port in Sri Lanka or in Pakistan, you are going to, India is going to be worried because of this history only. Likewise, is it clear? So this is the way you have to understand with respect to Indian history. So it's like a story. Try to connect various dots through visualization. It becomes easy for you. Answer these questions in the comment box. And one announcement, students are expecting proper mentorship program from the IAS mentor. We are coming up with a proper schedule which will help you to crack preliminary examination 2026. We will provide you proper schedule, targets will be given, test series will be there, and properly we are going to give you the systematic approach to crack preliminary examination. For further details, please keep following the IAS mentor. Another one, we are also coming up with other courses like current affairs, specific current affairs. We will deal with current affairs issues from prelims to prelims, places in news course. In this way, we are going to come up with multiple programs which will help you to crack this examination. Keep watching the IAS mentor. All the best. Thank you.